Welcome back to the job I referred to as being the Catalina wine mixer of lacing in hardwood to an existing floor. So in the last video I left you off and we went through getting it all ready, a lot of the wood installed. Now this video we're going to go all the way, the rest of the way to the very end till it is completely done so you can see the finished results. I did get quite a few comments with people saying, oh, it'd be cheaper, faster, easier just to tear it out and start back over. I'm going to answer that towards the end of the video, because a lot of people don't understand really the size of this job and then also what a budget means for the customer. Trust me, if your pockets are endless, I will help you spend every dime you got and we'll do whatever you want. You want to get fancy? We can get fancy. But I live in the real world and we actually got to work for a living, and other people do the same thing. Money's not endless. Not for everybody anyways. And this would be Tuesday on the job, so we wrapped up the rest of that install in the morning. Probably had that done by like 10 or 10:30. Didn't take too long. Then we're going to start sanding. So I got Mom going around first with a power drive around all the edges. And yes, she is my mom. I know I picked up a lot of new followers and everything on the last video I posted. So it's not my wife. It's not my girlfriend. That is my mother. We are a mom and son team that work together. And we usually are just sanding entire floors with the power drive only. It's rare I use a big machine. But for this one, I wanted to bring it in and make sure the light still worked on it. So I figured, what the hell, we're going to run it for a change. Because it's also very rare that I even get a job that's this open. And honestly, even with bringing this in here, I don't think it saved us any time. Probably could have did the same pass in equivalent time with a power drive, but I hadn't run it in a while. I didn't want to just bring it in and make sure everything's still working good on it. And I'm only running one pass with this with 50 grit, so I could have dropped it down to something like 36 if I really wanted to get mean with it, but it really wasn't that bad. The only spots I had to run across a couple times is just where I lace in the new wood. Obviously, it's a little bit thicker than the existing. Once I'm done with the big machine, I get it out of the way, and Mom's going to start running the power drive. I'm going to get the logger flip, the edger here, get it ready, so I can edge around the perimeter after her. I usually like to edge after she's done because I'm only edging maybe an inch, inch and a half around the walls, and that's it. And at this point, she's running like 60 grit, I think, on this pass. And yes, it is completely okay to run across the grain like that with this machine. This is a planetary sander. It is a direction-free machine. Go against the grain, go with the grain, go in circles if you want. It don't matter. Regardless, it's going to cut them flat. That machine has 4 6-inch heads underneath of it. Each one of them spin individually, and then the entire thing spins on a ring gear, just like a solar system. So that's how we get them tabletop flat. But I wanted to show you here all the existing gaps in the floor, and then kind of the new sections I toothed in where it's fairly tight. And I usually don't trowel fill existing floors, but this one we're going to do that. There is absolutely no guarantee that it will stay. It's a 50-50 chance. If they could keep everything inside the home, between 30 and 50% all year and pretty constant, don't have any big temperature swings or relative humidity swings, anything like that in the home odd happen, in theory, it shouldn't really expand and contract at all. But most likely it's still going to, because a lot of homes don't have dehumidifiers and humidifiers built into the HVAC system to control the relative humidity inside the home. So again, I'm trowel filling this entire floor in particular, just so it all flows together and everything is tight and looks seamless. But again, there is no guarantee that it will stay in place. If it comes out, it's not a big deal. It had slight gaps in areas before, so worst case, it's going to have slight gaps again. Here comes summertime. After the putty pushes out, have slight gaps in the wintertime next year. And when we get down to these passes, I'm usually running 100 grit around the walls first on the edger, and then Mom's going to finish up behind me with 100 grit on the power drive. We're still not done. I still take an orbital and run that around the wall prior to her Mom making her final pass with, I think we did 100 grit mesh on this one. And while she's making that, I brought the buffer in, getting the Tampico brush on that, and we're going to run that across the floor. And I have made videos of what this Tampico brush actually does, so it actually gets all the extremely fine dust out of the fibers of the wood, and that's how we get it extremely clean. Almost gives the floor like a polished look. That's how clean it gets it. And you can see when I take the brush off, all the wood dust still stuck in there on the bottom. And if you don't believe me, if you do floors, go through and vacuum up a job first, and then run this after you vacuum, just to see how much more it gets out of the floor. You'll really be surprised. But after everything's done, sanded, Tampico brush, we still will vacuum the floor just to make sure we get any like the horsehair fibers that might have come off that brush. And then we're going to put our first coat of finish down. So the customer actually picked low but easy prime on this one with no additives. So this is just a regular straight easy prime. So that first coat went down Wednesday afternoon, and coming back Thursday morning, we're going to put our first coat of Loba Easy Finish, and this is a satin sheen down. Then we're going to leave for a few hours. I come back around lunchtime. I cut and put in the trim everywhere I could, new shoe molding where they took all the old existing out. Then we got to abrade the floor, and then after I braid the floor, I put the Tampico brush back on there, run it again, then we vacuum, and then we also run this microfiber dust cloth just to get any extremely fine dust. You can see how limited that small white area was. Obviously, it will build up once you go across the whole floor. That's how we get them perfectly clean. Final coat goes down, and then I come back in here Friday morning, meet the customer, check it, make sure everything's good. What do you know? Tabletop quality job, like normal. It's the only way we accept them. If I wouldn't accept it in my own home, I damn sure wouldn't be doing it in somebody else's. But here's a quick walkthrough on the job, and then also do some before and afters. They're not doing that area. They're actually going to be ripping that out and redoing that entire section and putting tile in, is what they told me. And for a price standpoint, for the wood we had to buy for this job, install, lacing it in, sand and finish, and all that, you're about $11,000. Now, if we went through here and ripped out this entire job, all 1,100 square feet of it, and had to buy new wood, install that, sand and finish, everything else, my price guessing would be more like $20,000. So yeah, it was way cheaper to just tooth in what that little bit was and sand and finish what they had here. Nothing wrong with the floor. And we started this job on Monday. We finished Thursday afternoon. I check it Friday, get paid, and we're done. And Thursday we weren't even here all day. But anyways, I appreciate y'all watching the videos. Comment, tell me what you think, and we got a bunch of cool jobs coming up.